Okay, and last but not least, Bing.
Thank you, Tom. I've chosen something from The Alchemist, and it's called White Knight. But before I do that, I'd like to. I was taken by each one of you who have spoken first, and so thank you for sharing your poems that Eiseley has written. And John, I was still reflecting on yours, the prelude to Eiseley as he's a young boy, and there's another poem I'd like to quote first, which is not Eiseley, but a contemporary of his, or somewhat John Neihardt, who talks about Halley's Comet. So I thought that was be appropriate for this occasion ahead of my reading the other poem. Once in a cycle, the comet doubles its lonesome track, enriched with the tears of 1,000 years. Aeschylus wanders back. And so this is in the first chapter of Eiseley's, I call it the triad of his books, called The Invisible Pyramid. And in fact, the first chapter of this is, you might say, an ode to your prelude, is called The Star Dragon. And I think it's, I'll take a little quote from that as well before I read the poem. So the chapter is called The Star Dragon. And again, it's what you were talking about, young Eiseley with his father. And his father says to him, "If you live to be an old man," he said carefully, fixing my eyes on the midnight spectacle, "you will see it again. It will come back in 75 years. Remember, I will be gone, but you will see it. All the time, it will be traveling in the dark, but somewhere far out there, it will turn back. It is running, glittering through millions of miles." And it's interesting what our parents, their impacts that they can have upon us in terms of our dreams. Even when Eiseley was provost at the University of Pennsylvania, he would run into astronomers and ask them, where is Halley's Comet? And as I seem to recall from the essay, not so fast, old man. It's not coming for so many more years, 1986. It is on its way to back. Hold on. And here's Eiseley, who has held on to this vision from his childhood, waiting for the comet to return. And sometimes I reflect sadly that Eiseley did not see the comet return, but it was always a lifetime wish on his part. And in terms of Tom, you're reading your essay. So I was just thinking about what you were just saying about sunflowers and being on the website. So I hope somebody would choose a sunflower theme. And this is my backyard. And you can see the sunflowers are in bloom, and it's named after my grandfather. And so I'm thinking that this is that time of the year that it's close to Eiseley's birthday, and I thought it was appropriate to share with our assembled group here to appreciate the magic of the seasons. So years past, we would have the Eiseley birthday poetry readings at various locations throughout Nebraska. And one year, I invited everyone to come to my home, and the sunflowers were in bloom, and we all, everybody who attended, picked poems that they could have. And now that we are have a much larger audience, spread through all the corners of this country, I thought the best way to share these sunflowers was by a photograph, which I took this morning. So hopefully you get to enjoy it as I did earlier this morning. So, so the poem that I chose is, there are two terms that I probably need to share with you. It's taken from Notes of an Alchemist. And here's the book, in case you're wondering. Sorry, you're getting reflections. And the little sub description says, for White Knight, a song should be intended for travel for light year distances. And partially in my reading this part, I was thinking about the Voyager and its journey into the cosmos, and that it has gone beyond our solar system and is actually traveling between the stars now. And the recordings that Carl Sagan and others put onto it, they are carrying humanity's song of who we are, and hopefully not the term who we were going into the future. And so, and then there are two terms here that I had to look up because I'm not an English literature major. One was eidos, which is related to Platonism, the Platonian ideas of an idea, a logical, a logical system for thinking. And then the other term that I was not familiar with in this poem, I'll share with you now so that those of you that have not heard this term will know its meaning. And Tom, you have to correct me if I'm mispronouncing it. Eidolon, and it's supposed to stand for a ghost, an apparition, a specter, or phantom. So, so with that as a, you might say, a precursor, I'm going to share with you White Knight. In those long desert nights on the playas, the dead lake beds that used to be fed from snow water, before the glaciers died in the far-off mountains, I used to watch the constellations turning all night around the horizon and think of great angular distances of light years compressed in my head. I think it must have been there, between the sand dunes, where everything human was reduced to stones, polished by a million years of wind, that I forgot how it was to sleep. Now the geometry of space has widened beyond my skull's capacity. I am too old, too deep on the ground, too old to gather flints that had just as well be left lying for another age. I sit against a rock. It is easier now, for my mind follows the night wind over dunes and pinnacles. I can hear it whisper, each time more softly, that there is no need to come back. That I myself am the wind, so long whispering, that our identities are both cast in doubt. Wind and thought, they both blow over immeasurable distances. They drop and lose things, or nudge something better left buried out of the sand. Then they cry over the deserts. To do it again, not caring. I think that the mind remembers more than the wind. Though I am old, I shall keep this difference, but for me, it is necessary to be wakeful, holding the broken shards together a little while, seeing what Plato saw in the Eidos. The forms taking a final pleasure in what the wind can neither proclaim nor destroy. The flint knife on the playa, though singular, survives. And now an eidolon, shaped in the darkness of the beginning years. The wind has buried and unburied it for ages. It is still what it is. Remember this when you write the notes of a song, intended for travel for light year distances. So this is the poem that I chose for tonight, for today.